What's up, MPX addicts, and welcome to the MPX Rehab. I'm your host, the hashtag certified Mark J. Williams, here with my co-host, as always,
the voice of the MPX addicts, Kyle Smith.
And of course, today we have a very special guest in which we actually have the mastermind behind Hardakis and the crypt and everything like that, especially the crypt. I mean, honestly, Isaac Mazer.
Hello.
And, it's like, of course, to start off, like we said on Mainline, not to bury the lead here, but MPX has been saved. And
You're welcome.
yeah.
Yeah, all me.
Oh, yeah. Purchased by Certified Mark Productions, sure.
No, me. Just me.
Just you?
Yeah,
Just you?
I fired you later.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
You got two more weeks.
Oh, okay. But either way, the fact that MPX has been saved, that it will continue on unbroken, unabated, just makes me super, super relieved and happy and everything like that. We're still going to be doing the Fridays up in Sherman with Red River and Texoma because, I mean, we made a deal. A deal's a deal. Even if you don't...
I was like, you made that deal. I didn't. No, it's fine. I'm actually looking forward to it.
Yeah. I mean, hell, if nothing else, we get to hang out with Tony again.
Yes, that's always a plus.
Yeah. But, so let's go ahead and get on with the show because got a lot to talk about, obviously. To start off with, we had that dark match between Nasty Nick Nash and DMG, Part 2. And this one, it obviously showed that DMG, Dalton, had gotten a lot more confidence because he looked a lot better this time.
Yeah, he did. It was really great. And, we also saw different sides of Nick here and there, which he continues to grow. Obviously, Dalton being as young as he is already, and this is his third or fourth match, technically.
I think so, yeah.
It's amazing to see the growth there. So it's great. I like the finish because obviously it was something different than last time. And the interactions before with the squirt guns and everything about that match was really good. Nick, spot on as usual. It was. I think in ways it was better than the first match they had.
It was. It really was. Because like I said, Dalton, if nothing else, has a lot more confidence now that he's actually performed in front of a actual crowd and everything like that.
And that was a pretty big crowd. So, yeah, it was kudos to him.
Yeah. And I pointed this out to Nick later on and got chopped again for it. But
Nasty or the ref?
Nasty.
Okay.
I think it's hilarious that Dalton's the one who comes out to the classic rock and Nick comes out to newer stuff.
Yeah, but it kind of fits.
Yeah.
My favorite thing was my friend saw his thing, goes, "Oh, Nintendo 64." I was like, "Yeah, it's cool. It works."
Yeah, it works. Yeah. No, I'm not gonna. It's just like, yeah. But yeah, no, that was a great match. Then we started the night out. Honestly,
you're not gonna say hi to Papa Pruitt?
Oh, Papa Pruitt's there. Hi, Ernie. How you doing? But the first match of the actual show, Casey Clay, the true hero of MPX, taking on the reincarnation of excellence, Kari Wright. And this match was that's still a mouthful. I feel like I'm about to trip over it again.
Reincarnation of excellence?
Yeah.
It's not any worse than catastrophe. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. Catastrophically charismatic.
Casey Clay.
Yeah. But yeah, Casey Clay, Kari Wright, putting on a hell of a match to start with. Because just wow.
Yeah, it was, and I had said last week this is one of those that on paper it could steal any show, and then you got to hope they deliver, and they delivered and then some. Casey and Kari are phenomenal athletes. We've seen Kari grow what we always hoped he would have been 2 or 3 years ago, and what we thought we were going to get. We're seeing that manifest now. Yeah. And it's amazing. And then this different side of Casey, this, I guess, pseudo face eggs. I'm still waiting. We're not really sure what it is.
Well, it's like Casey himself said. He hasn't really had a chance to discover who Casey Clay is as a face.
Right.
So now he's getting a chance to work on that. And honestly, it's going to make the match that's coming up this week even more fun to watch because I see a lot of Tommy Dean in the new Casey Clay as well as just as a character and everything.
I'm a fan of both these guys. Casey Clay, you mentioned the real Casey Clay. The Casey Clay I saw, I believe it was after the main event of Texas Rumble 2021, where he wrestled Sky. Him on the microphone in that moment where he revealed himself as the attacker of Frankie Fisher, there's something there.
Yes.
And I'm excited to see him as he progresses. Same with Kari. Kari's an incredible athlete. His presence too. Again, we had a few interactions, myself and Sky, with him. He's got a very natural charisma, and he's another guy that I'm very interested in and very excited to see his evolution and progression.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to how this is going to go, especially since I saw on Facebook that he's really looking to take on a bunch of Houstonites and everything. So
yeah, and that's crazy, and that's one of those. Like I've said with Exodus, and same goes with Kari. They should be, and same with Casey. They need to be booked all over, not just necessarily all over Texas, man, all over the states, all over the world. Those guys, and that's one of the main things I love about MPX is the talent we have, and the talent that comes through here is just amazing.
Absolutely.
And these are two of the brightest ones, and it's good to see them kind of grow and, like I said, kind of break out of their shells. Like you said, they're learning. Casey's learning how to do kind of this face thing and what to do and stuff like that, because he had the heel down, like you said, when he revealed himself as an attacker. One of the greatest, and in some ways, okay, we all kind of called it, but it was still caught off guard, and it was still kind of chilling the way he did it and the way he said it and the why he did it. It was great. And to see Kari kind of propel and excel and find himself, it's great to see them develop like that.
You mentioned about you felt like you saw it coming. I think predictability is okay if it's coupled with excitement. If it's something that's going to happen, I know that's going to happen. Well, if you want that to happen, then it's okay.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about it when the whole thing was going on, and that's actually why I wrote that editorial thing I did, in which I had my top 5 possible attackers, and I had Tatum all the way at the bottom, though he was the prime suspect and everything. And then
I think I made that accusation as well.
Yeah. It was great. Everybody was buying into that, and it was fantastic. Yep. Nick, you're going to have to give it a bit.
I mean, you're here to Purple Rain, but
yeah, just wait for Purple Rain, if nothing else. Yeah.
Well, you want here Purge, but
maybe
somebody wants a more pain or a purge.
Yeah.
We're in for a long night, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I enjoyed my Purge.
Yeah.
It was your favorite.
Yeah, because that's when we were still wearing the earpieces, because somebody said
that you wore them. I immediately knew. I was like, yeah, I'm not wearing this.
It made sense at the time, but now I'm just like, no, we're good. We've got the sound down for the most part. But that whole thing is like I put Casey Clay at the top, not because I had any kind of weird insider information, but because I'm just sitting there going, what would be the most interesting story to tell with this? What would be the most interesting twist? Putting Casey Clay up at the top, especially with him, accusing Tatum as hard as he did.
Yeah.
It's like, to me, that made the most interesting story.
It did.
So, that's, but then Casey Clay won that match, showing that he is coming back strong and everything. So I'm looking forward to where it's going to go from here, especially, like I said, since what's happening this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend, Purple Rain, like everything that's going on the next 2 weeks, it's building up to something huge, and I can't wait for it.
Yeah. Then we had a tag team match in which the team-ups at first were like kind of, you didn't know which way things were going to go, but given that we had heard at one point that Iron Belly and Morgan Mercy were looking at possibly tagging up because the Vikings and everything like that.
Yep.
Having them tag together up against Mikey B and Big J, Jacob Lindsay, was a really good turn of events.
What are they called? Out of Sync?
It's like outside of MPX, their tag team with Red Chambers called Out of Sync.
No. We're talking about MPX. They're Out of Sync. Red's not part of it.
Oh, yeah, no. Big J is 100% behind selling Out of Sync 100%. I like it.
I'm
for it as well.
I like it. I think it's great. They have good chemistry together, which obviously because they train together and everything, and they're friends and stuff like that, and that's usually what works best. But no, Mikey's shirt was the best.
Oh yeah,
that was amazing.
It's fantastic.
Best
I love
friends.
This whole angle. This whole thing is just so much fun to watch.
Matlock and Mikey B, the best friends ever.
Yeah.
I'll trade him this microphone for that shirt.
But it was interesting to see Mikey wrestle heel a bit, though, because
yeah, it started out that way just because I guess it is Iron Belly, but then it quickly changed. So nope, they're just going to do what they do. It's for people that the fans love, which made good. It was one of those that was obviously it's like you said, it's kind of strange tag teams because while Jacob and Mikey have teamed other places, we've never really seen it.
Yeah.
Their chemistry was there. Iron Belly and Morgan, it's a little off, but that's also they haven't teamed before.
Yeah.
And they're both still new and they're both still learning. It's anytime Iron Belly or Morgan are in teams and kind of thrown together, it takes a lot to work as a tag team and as a tag team guy.
Yeah.
That's one reason I love tag teams is you take something where you have normally 2 people in the ref, so you got 3 people working. Now you've got 2 on each side, 4 plus the ref. Now you got 5 people to kind of work with and manage and get everything right. It takes a lot. And again, that's why I love tag teams and I love good tag teams. And the match itself was fine. I enjoyed the interaction. Again, Iron Belly, I love the interactions with, go for the head, go for the legs, don't go for the belly. Mm-hmm. But what does everyone do? Everyone tries to go for the belly.
Yeah.
It's great. And then it's good to see Morgan still selling the effects of the Phoebe beatdowns and everything like that. So that was great job on her part.
Yeah. And it's of course, different spots in the whole thing. Jacob going for the old school, the walk the ropes bit, which that's what prompted the whole thing of, Jacob Lindsay revealed to be son of Hardakis.
You can deny that, right?
Yeah.
That's not true.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely not.
Yeah. I was going to say, we can go ahead and just stop that rumor. But now Fitz
said on this show, maybe we should put a stop to it.
But now Fitz is Hardakis. We all know that to be true.
Would you like me to stay?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's him doing that, and when he starts to walk across the rope, there's Iron Belly come a little closer, and he's like, nope, never mind.
Yeah.
And then Iron Belly throwing the hammer at him, and him just going down. And it's that whole thing. Some people were like, oh, this is a comedy match. I'm looking at it, and it's no, it's a character match.
Yeah.
It's different. It's if it were a comedy match, there would have been a lot more slapstick in it. I mean, it's nobody.
Phil Noir wasn't in it, so yeah.
Yeah, if there was no Phil Noir, doing case closed, no butt punches, or freeze frames or anything like that. So those are comedy matches where the whole thing is just kind of a funny shtick. I mean, it's still great. I love comedy wrestling. Don't get me wrong, but this was not comedy. This was character. It's different.
Yeah, it was, and like I said, I liked the finish of the hammer just kind of being tossed on Jacob, and he can't get out. But then Mikey's gonna, still get the win. Yeah. And then it's funny trying to watch them get the hammer off Jacob so he can celebrate the win. All that was great.
Yeah, no, and Mikey B, Big J winning that one. It was a really good match, and I'm looking forward to, especially Jacob, how much he's picked up.
We're not going to let the Shrek thing die, though, right? Matlock started that. It still has to be Shrek.
No, yeah, you can continue that. Remember, you're the heel, and right now he's kind of a face.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But then we had the rugged Gabe Wilder taking on Mr. Nasty. This was an unannounced match, and I have to say, it's we talk about it all the time. Some matches you don't know you want until you see them. Mm-hmm. And this was definitely one of those because Mr. Nasty, a lot of times he does a lot of his gimmick rather than a lot of actual work in a match. But Gabe very much is a worker.
Yeah, Gabe is, and people listen to me and they know how much I love Gabe. Gabe is amazing. And like you said, this is a match that I didn't know I wanted until Mr. Nasty's music hit. Mm-hmm. And then it's holy crap, Nasty's here. This is amazing. Holy crap, he's going against Gabe. This match is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
And they did. They delivered. It was a great match. It was very solid. I love the interactions. I love the way the addicts still like Mr. Nasty because it's one of those we haven't seen in a while. And the reaction he got was pretty good. So that was great. And then, the nice little addicts who chant Gabe's a hoe. I mean, they're very rude and disrespectful, but it was great.
Yeah, I can't imagine who would have come up with that one.
Well, it was before 9 o'clock, so we couldn't say Gabe's a bitch.
But yeah, Gabe Wilder walking away with the win on that one, which it's like I'm liking him coming away with strong finishes, win or lose lately. It's really kind of starting to separate him from the rest of Civil Disorder in a lot of ways. It's letting him really come out on his own.
Oh, remember, he's the sticky white substance that keeps Civil Disorder together. What?
Uh-huh.
He is.
I had blissfully forgotten that.
Oh, how could you ever forget me saying that?
Gabe is one of those guys that changed my opinion of him. At first, I didn't quite know what to think, but I think it was actually when he came in earlier on in the Texas Rumble this year. I think he was number 6 or so, and he came in and just started beating everybody in the mouth, and looked like he was there to win, and he was there to make an impression. And since then, I have a high opinion of him, and he's very good mechanically, and he's somebody I want to know a little bit more about, like as I'm watching. Same with Mr. Nasty. I want to see a little bit more, and see what more is there.
Oh, hell, now I kind of want to see an angle of Mr. Nasty versus Hardacus, because that's the one I can see the best.
Oh, why you wish death on Nasty?
But then after that, we have...
No, I can't. I'm sorry, I just can't. I can't see him trying to pimp slap Hardacus. It's not in my mind. I see that going very, very badly.
It's one thing to try.
Yeah.
It's another thing to survive.
Yeah, I don't.
It's another thing to get your hand back.
Yeah, that's a completely different subject right there.
Exactly.
But then after that, we had a match, Kirby on his retirement tour. And now that we know that MPX is continuing, it's more a Kirby retirement tour than a end of MPX thing.
It's TVMA, Livy. She asked if we have a rating.
Yeah. It's like...
You give me alcohol on the live mic. That's your own fault.
Oh, yeah. But Stephen Kirby, the greatest human being alive, taking on the Texas Chainsaw, Sky de Lacrimosa. And this match was mayhem.
I got my wish.
Yeah.
It got turned into I don't know, Mr. Mayhem's pub match or whatever we're going to call it. Because, it wasn't necessarily excessive violence, so we won't go that far. But it was the pub fight, and I liked it.
Yeah.
I think, and I even said it last week, I think knowing Kirby's last matches are coming up, to be a part of that had to mean a lot to Sky.
Yeah.
To be one of the last 3 matches, I think meant the world to him, and then to go out swinging, and the match itself was great. It's not, like I said, it wasn't necessarily excessive violence, but it was still violent enough, and it was great.
Yeah.
And you got 2 men who are going out, and like we've said, Kirby he's going out on his last 3 matches, and he's going to give it 110% every time he's out there. Not that he never did anyways, but these last matches definitely mean something to him. And it was good. It was very solid. It's that the board being thrown at Sky's head and face while he's on the turnbuckle.
Yeah.
Looked like it caught him right under the chin. I'm like, oh, God. No, that match was great. I enjoyed it. And then that's when, we got the announcement.
Yep. Him following up that match with the announcement that MPX had been purchased and it will continue, made... There were people in tears. I could see it. It was just great because, honestly, Kirby talks about how, it's like, well, you shouldn't call one show your home. It's like, but I don't think he quite realizes how much MPX means to the addicts.
We talked about it, and of course he probably watched it and disregarded it, but we talked about it with Taryn of how MPX it's more than Annex, it's more than a show, it's become family for a lot of people. For a lot of people, myself included, Saturday at MPX is an escape. It's it's 2 to 3 hours where I forget about everything except what's going on in front of me, and it is. I've made friends that I never thought I'd be friends with. I've got to do this, so it's MPX does mean a lot to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, but like you said, the match as a whole was just absolutely fantastic. Very violent, very hard hitting, and it was like it's basically not just Kirby going up against different opponents that he hasn't really had a chance or hasn't had a chance with in a while. It's also him just going through the last kinds of matches that he hasn't had a chance to do before.
Right, and I mean, we'll talk about it later, but next week is a huge one, and then the week after that, the Purple Rain. That's one that's been years in the making. So,
yeah, but of course all about Sky's level of wrestling and everything.
I do. Well, I'm sure we'll dive deeper into that in a bit, but of course I have a very very high opinion of both these gentlemen and a very high opinion of MPX. I'm ecstatic that it's going to continue. I think too it feels like such a successful thing that it's hard to imagine it going away anyway. And there's so many positive aspects about MPX that you don't get with a lot of other organizations. Like things that you wouldn't even think about as a talent and as a fan. And I think that continuing is going to be it's a really really great thing.
Yeah, definitely. I'm very very happy it is. Then after that we had the Addicts title match between the Mad Prince and the Immortal Jason Silver.
Can't get away from him.
Yeah.
No matter.
It's like we had seen, apparently, according to Mad Prince, we had seen him and Jason before, but this one really just, it felt like, with the Mad Prince being able to really come into his own a lot more over the last year and a half, and, taking on Jason Silver, who, yes, I have made comparisons between the two for a long time because they're very similar in their style, in their, just look and everything like that.
Yeah, I was going to say the disregard for their opponent's body and their own body.
Yeah. And that actually made this match even more just kind of, I cringed a few times, I'm not going to lie.
Every time Silver does that standing Spanish fly, I cringe. It's every time.
Oh, geez, yeah, he's gonna hit his head eventually, and it's gonna suck.
Yeah, but no, the match was great because it's like you said, it's everything we kind of wanted. It's everything we thought it would be, and that's the thing in these last. I've never really left MPX thinking that was a bad show, and not every match is amazing, stuff like that, but. Since the announcement of, hey, it's closing up, everyone has been on and every show is delivered to be one of the best shows ever. Yes. And every match has been on paper like, oh, this is going to be good. It'll be exciting. And then they exceed all expectations. And this match was no different.
Definitely. It was fantastic. In-ring storytelling between the two. I mean, it's like there were beats I expected to happen, but didn't. And I'm not upset that they didn't.
Yeah, and it's one of those where it's, again, we talked about earlier with developing. I like seeing Hilda develop a little bit more, knowing what to do on the ring side and outside and mannerisms and stuff like that. She's getting a lot better at it. And granted, it's only been 3 weeks, 2. And it's getting better, and we talked about it when Jinx first came on, and every time you see her, she gets better and better with mannerisms and knowing where to be on certain spots and around the ring and interaction with the Addicts in the front row. Yeah. And Hilda was no different. She's learning and growing, and that's great to see.
Yeah. And it's like I'm really glad to see her growing into this role more. I'm wondering if if they're going to keep with it. And have her be able to, actually get into the ring and everything like that, or it's like, is this temporary? I don't know, but I would not be upset to see Hilda continue being Hilda, along with the Mad Prince,
right?
For a while, and especially in that post-match bit where Tatum comes out to try and take his belt back, but Hilda's right there and she's got the powder and just right in Tatum's face. Although I gotta wonder, it's like, okay, white powder. Matt Prince is talking about being medicated lately.
No, sir. Cannot make a Coke reference.
I didn't make any reference. I don't know what you're talking about.
You can't do that. That's something I should say, not you. Jeez.
Where is the line?
On this show, it's very, very blurry line. But
you have to get razor blades out. It's a whole deal. Anyways,
it's like, she's really grown into this role, and I'm really hoping to see more of her as a character as well.
And we still have Tommy Two Belts. So that's great.
If you say so.
The Prince. Hey, look at the show next week. It's all about the Prince.
Yeah, true. But then we, Mad Prince beating Jason Silver and, retaining. Like I said, I was almost expecting Tatum to come out and cost Prince the Addict belt, so that adds that extra level of fury between the two. But, like I said, I'm not disappointed that didn't happen.
Well, that, and it's also, it's Purple Rain. Like, every title should be defended. So if it was one of those where, and again, we got 2 weeks, they could change it to, both titles are on the line or what have you.
Yeah.
That's fine. But it also, for how quickly they've built it, which MPX seems to be very good at quickly building angles that don't seem like it. Like, if we actually look, and of course we'll talk about it more with you, Dimitri and Sky, it was built... Yeah, I guess you could technically say it was built the moment Dimitri won and then immediately lost when Sky cashed in. But the actual interviews, the actual vignettes, the actual promos, the actual match built started at the Rumble to Destiny, which is not a lot of time.
It was an award-winning angle.
I'll counter with that by saying those trigger moments you just talked about of Dimitri winning the Rumble and Sky being the champion would not have mattered as much had that cash-in not gone the way it did.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
And that's the thing, with this, we're in week 3, I think, isn't it, of Tommy and Tatum. And then, fast forward, so it'll be a 5-week build. That's not a lot of time, but they've made it feel like it's been going on for months. And it's amazing how, and that's a credit to Tatum, it's a credit to Tommy, it's a credit to Hilda, Richard, everyone involved in that.
Yeah.
And it's really great to see. And it's not they don't need to have the whole double title thing, was my original point, but it's Purple Rain. It was the last show. Like, it was one of those where it's like, I kind of saw Silver winning just so the Addicts title will be defended at Purple Rain.
Yeah.
But no, we get something way better now.
I'm much more happy with what we're getting.
See, and this is why I don't talk or write or book shit, because they always do better.
Well, it's also a benefit of, again, I'm going to speak highly of MPX, of having a weekly show. So you can, even if you've got however many 4 or 5 weeks, you've got 4 or 5 weeks to do that. Another aspect of that match that was good was that if Silver had won, he would have been a Grand Slam champion. So that
awesome.
And then learning that was another thing, because it was, talk to the lads like, he'll be Grand Slam. I was like, no, I don't think he ever won. He did win Prospect. Okay. And so it was one of those like, oh man, that's even history.
Think about 25 years ago.
Yeah. I was going to say,
It was like a very early Prospect title. Yeah. But then we got a Haas match, and I'm talking like just two big dudes just beating the snot out of each other. The Ray of Light, T-Ray, taking on Brixton Shaw from across the pond. Man, this match was what I was hoping it would be.
Again, it's one of those that on paper you're like, this will be good, and then they just over-delivered what you thought it would be. You've got 2 phenomenal talents, and you've got T-Ray, one of the best in Texas. You got Brixton quickly becoming that, trying to prove, hey, I should be other places like T-Ray, like all these other people. And they went out there and they delivered, like you said, one of the best Haas fights, big men matches we've ever seen at MPX.
And honestly, it's like just the performance as a whole. I'm not at all disappointed, of course, with Brixton Shaw winning this match, but I'm just like, this could go either way and it would work.
The only thing I was disappointed in, and then I realized the time and I realized why, was T-Ray was, because at the time, it was probably one of the last times we see him in MPX. He was trying to do like a farewell type thing and the lights go out. And I'm like, but it's T-Ray, let him have it. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, we're stretched on time. Damn it.
Yeah.
So it's little things like that as a fan and knowing what MPX means to a lot of the wrestlers, it's kind of like, I wish they would let him have just a couple of seconds. But again, it was still fine. The match itself was phenomenal. Like I said, it's one of the best. What is it? The Big E line, big men slapping me, or what? Big meaty men swapping me, whatever the fuck that line is. I can never say it right. That's exactly what it was.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember.
Yeah,
right.
That's exactly what it was, and it was great.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of T-Ray. T-Ray is one of those guys that, because most guys at this level, and even guys that are on worldwide television, the majority of them now are kind of the younger, more athletic, or more kind of smaller, more I'll say streamlined physiques. T-Ray, when he walks out, it's a mood changer, in the same way that like Moonshine Mantell or Mike Fox would be. It's a grown man walking to the ring. It's not, and again, everybody has their own preferences, everybody has their own style, but there's a different vibe when guys like that walk out. And T-Ray has that.
It's like watching him and Brixton come out. It had a totally different feel to watching, say, Mikey B and Tommy Prince kind of thing. Mikey B and Tommy Prince, they very much feel a little bit like kids, especially when you start to get older yourself.
Well, and there's a spot for that. There's a again, it's preferences, it's variety.
Yeah.
But there's a difference, and I think that's a credit to T-Ray that he can shift that mood by just walking into the building.
Yeah. No, he is the ray of light.
And also one of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet.
That's a nice guy. Yeah, me and Lily need to finally figure out a date for our wedding, because he's like, yeah, let me know, because I'll be there. I'm like, okay, that's awesome.
Thought you were going to talk for PR to get him on the show, but okay, that works too.
That too. No, I'm totally for that. We should figure that date out for that too. It'll probably have to be call-in, because I think he's like Austin.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
He hates it when we have to do call-ins.
That's also me too, though. Call-ins are just very. I don't like the back and forth and the delay. That's my only thing. Plus, it's fun to actually be with people. You're having fun, right?
I'm having fun. Are you having fun?
I'm having fun, always.
Speaking of which, hi, Remedy.
Yeah, fun. There we go. He keeps saying soon. When is soon, sir?
I know, right? Well, there's theories. I mean, you see the empty spaces on certain cards,
I don't want Tyler Jett to die. He just came back.
Have you met Tyler Jett?
There are some people who feel that Sky and Isaac did the world a service.
Yeah, them and that wrench.
That was brutal to watch.
Can't forget the tiny hammer, though. Come on.
That was actually a meat tenderizer.
Of course, Jet tenderizes his... Anyways. Next match.
Oh, there's a reason we had to reshoot that segment.
Yeah, it's because I mentioned things I shouldn't mention.
Exactly. And then, of course,
thank God we didn't have live mics then.
Yeah. And then, of course, we had the main event, Red Chambers, that guy Red Chambers, the MPX Prospect Champion, versus the MPX Prospect Champion, Tommy Dean, to unify the titles, finally decide who the MPX Prospect Champion is, and whoever won would gain their fourth win, and all in a ladder match, which just, had the right feel to it.
So, I mean, either way, after this match, the Mad Prince has a target on his back now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, I mean, you saw Mainline, or you were on Mainline.
Say, I like how you're not going to correct it. You're going to go with it. Mad Prince is our MPX champion.
No, even the cards just say addicts. You know.
But yeah, no, the ladder match is everything. Again, it's one of those on paper, you're like, oh, this is going to be good, and then they delivered and exceeded your expectations. You've got Red, who we know has a, I don't want to say death wish, but he will go out and just do some of the stupidest, craziest shit. And then if
it all
anyone
comes
knows,
back to that purge match of between him and Jason in the casket match.
Yeah, and if anyone knows Tommy Dean, they all know Tommy Dean hangs out with Wes. He's a little crazy already. So this match delivered, and then Tommy Dean's broken foot. It was great.
Yeah.
They did things and they set up things. I'm like, oh, don't do that. And then they did, and I'm like, are y'all okay? Okay, good, they're okay.
God, the fact that Tommy Dean was still walking around and everything like that is like
limping, but
breaking your heel is no freaking joke. And the fact that he did that, and is still there the next week, and is going to be there the next week, it's just like, holy crap! This dude's like unstoppable. He needs to take a break so he can heal before he breaks further. But
credit to Red Chambers, because did he have any real legitimate claim to the championship?
Yeah, technically, yeah.
Technically, I mean, he did do the defenses, so I can at least say he did that. But
right, but in order to defend the prospect title, you must first legitimately win it, correct?
Yeah. And he was handed the title before the match.
Wasn't handed. There was a match.
No, he was handed the title before the match, and that's why the match counted as his first defense.
Either way.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, Red coming out, and yeah, there might be shenanigans here and there. Kirby helped a little.
Like I said on Facebook, it's like it really feels like Dad's making sure his son is set up for success before he retires.
Yeah, but then it's dad versus dad and son versus son. You've got Richard building up the Mad Prince, and you've got Kirby building up Red. The right hand didn't know what the left hand's doing.
Well, we'll find out. I mean, we could see a certain cash in at Purple Rain. Pull a full Seth Rollins, turn it into a triple threat.
That, or maybe he cashes in on Mad Prince after Malico this week.
Yeah, maybe.
Never know.
Although that would be weird for him to defend a title that he technically doesn't have.
No, he has it. Possession's 9/10, remember?
Yeah, that's why I said technically. But
can't go against the law, sir. There's a song. You fought the law and the law won.
But the
yes, there also is a great NWA song called "Fuck the Police."
yes, NWA song, sure. But that Mayhem in Mid Cities, it's our one of our favorite summer shows. And this was a good point.
And it wasn't it real last week? It's the longest running named MPX show.
I think so, yeah.
Mayhem in Mid City. So yeah, it was again one of those that it's at the time was going out, and what a way to go out. But then of course we had an announcement, and we heard that MPX will live on forever. It is always going to live on forever.
Oh yeah. No.
As long as I have a breath in my body, it's going to live on.
Yes.
People will get sick of me. I mean, they're already sick of me, but they're going to get sick of me hearing about MPX.
My kids are going to be like, Dad, the show doesn't even happen anymore. Stop talking about this.
Back
MPX
in my
thing.
day, wrestling was better.
Yeah, God. I hope I don't
think
become
everybody
that.
thinks that.
Yeah. It's like I really hope I don't become that. I try to look at what is going on now and enjoy that, but
it's one of my favorite shirts that sadly got ruined at ACW. Because it was hot and I didn't realize the rust on the fucking thing. But no, wrestling is art. That quote from Ricochet when everyone started shitting on him and Ospreay, and he goes, "Wrestling is art. It's for everyone. There's different types. There's enough wrestling out there that you may not like this one, but you'll like this one."
Yeah.
It's literally for everyone, and that's one of the most beautiful things about wrestling, and that's one of the most beautiful things about MPX is we can see a very technical match. We can see a hardcore match. We can see a lucha match. We can see a comedy match. MPX has always been great about having every type of wrestling that someone would love. That's why I firmly believe that even if you don't like wrestling, if you come to MPX, you'll leave having a good time. And it's one of the greatest things about them.
I mean, think of how many stories you have of people coming in and saying, it's like, well, before MPX, I didn't care about wrestling. I didn't really care for it at all. It was all just so kind of hokey to me. They come to MPX and they're an addict.
I had an ex-coworker, and of course I talk about wrestling all the time.
Mm-hmm.
She never, I was always like, oh, everyone should come out on Saturdays, blah, blah, blah. Never did. Fitz, she's an MA. Fitz goes to a clinic. She's the MA. He goes, oh, I'm a wrestler. You should come out. She comes out. She's there a lot now. And it's that thing. It was that first show. It kind of sucked in. I mean, also it was Dimitri because she loves Dimitri. But it's Dimitri, he smells very nice.
It's like when there's somebody here at the table who doesn't so much.
But yeah, it's one of those, again, like I said, if you don't like wrestling, you come to MPX, you're going to at least be like, oh, I had a good time. I'll probably come back because it's fun. Mm-hmm. The environment that the promotion and the addicts themselves, and I think the addicts do take a lot of credit for it. The environment is so fun, and it's so opening and welcoming.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's very few that would say, oh, the addicts didn't welcome me, or oh, the wrestlers didn't welcome me. No, it's a great time. That's why, literally, I always say MPX is family, because it is. It's a very family environment.
Yeah, very much so. And honestly,
Even with you there?
You would be surprised. Some people actually like me. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I really don't.
Yeah,
but
he's the one who got a wristband from the girls, not me.
yeah, I was gonna say you guys got to bring that up.
But
I even have a nice tan line from it, so
so you know he wears it too. So hey,
never take it off.
But
a fan actually gave me something, so.
And of course, this week at Bend the Knee, which I love the whole Game of Thrones theme of the whole thing. It's really good, and just
God, he's a good King Joffrey, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh God, please don't go out that way.
Here, Tommy, have a drink.
Tommy, never take drink from strangers. You should know this. I mean, you didn't learn it last Saturday, but you should learn this.
It's probably a good rule for everyone.
That's true. Very true.
Or never leave your drink unattended.
Also a good rule for everyone.
Yeah. But we've got matches like Casey Clay taking on Tommy Dean in honestly the biggest rubber match of them.
It's the final best of 5.
Yeah, they're 2-2 right now, and there hasn't been a match yet between them that has not had some kind of interference.
Well, as you guys you heard both of them. No Tommy, no Brent, no Frankie, no interference. This is literally going to be a one-on-one match.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm super excited because, like you said, it's. I think Tommy Dean posted it best, where he was like, he feels somewhat credit to how Casey and who Casey is of what he is now because of the matches he had with Tommy Dean. And that's not too far from the truth. Those matches with Tommy showcased how good and athletic Casey is.
Yeah, absolutely.
This match is, and again, it's no discredit to anything else announced on that card. This is the match I'm looking forward to the most. This is the match of the night. This is possibly going to be match of the year. This match right here has so much built into it.
Yeah, especially since Tommy had said that it may be a bit before he comes back to MPX for a while. So it's like I can imagine the two of them.
Tommy,
just
talk to the new owners. I'm sure it's fine.
It's like he's going to want to go out on top at least.
Yeah, and Casey's going to want to continue since his comeback from his knee injury. He's going to want to continue his winning ways, and he wants that title back. He wants the MPX title back. That's why I commented. Chris Fulmer's sometimes annoying with his photo work, but that one of what was it? Tommy, Tatum, Red, and then Casey at the top. I was like, okay, that's your best one. That's the winner.
No, it was like, and then I saw JD's response, and I'm like, I wanted to add like a picture of just somebody, some military guy with a bazooka or something like that. It's like, here's you, man. Just ready to take them all. But that I'm really looking forward to this one. And we also have Phoebe coming back and taking on Nova Phoenix, which will be interesting because we're either getting heel versus heel or Nova's going face.
Wasn't Nova face technically last time she was in the building?
don't remember.
I mean, it's been a while.
I'm so used to her being the heel.
I'm just used to Dexter sitting next to me yell for Nova, so I'm assuming she's a face.
True, yeah.
But no, I've enjoyed and loved this evil Phoebe we've gotten. I think it's great. And it's one of those I hope that continues. And I'm glad we're getting her back because I thought the last time we saw her was going to be the last time we saw her. So having her back is amazing. This is one of those matches, and I hope people don't hate me. It's either going to be good or it could turn really bad. Nova, I said it last time with Phil. Nova's one of those where she has glimpses of like, oh, you're good, you can do this, this is great, and then there's times where it's not so good.
And a lot of it does tend to depend on her opponent as well.
Yeah, it depends on who she's working with. And with it being Phoebe, I have the optimism of this is going to be a good match because with the way Phoebe is now, and if we get the Nova that we've seen in the past couple of matches, like the last one we saw, I believe, was Morgan Mercy, which was a good match. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this just to see how good it looks, because Phoebe's been working strong a lot lately. Win or lose, she's been very strong in her work. And, Nova Phoenix wrestling like a big wrestler and everything, powerhouse moves and everything like that. This will definitely be interesting to see because a lot of times you see Nova taking on much smaller wrestlers. And, sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. Now she's going to have somebody who's a little more on par with her.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does, and it's one of those where it's also, I hope this, granted I don't know where we're going, and I know she's pretty much retired, but if we
He doesn't hate it, Livy. He's just very, very picky.
I really don't hate women's wrestling. I like it a lot. I am very picky in it, though.
If it's not the Joshis or...
I like women's wrestling, and I like intergender wrestling. I just am also very picky at it.
Are you more picky than you are with men's wrestling?
I don't think so.
Yes.
You think so, really?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't think so.
It's a little something for you to work on, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
WrestleMania weekend, the amount of shows we watch for women's wrestling, we love every single one of those matches.
Yeah. There is a lot of women's wrestling I like. I like to think I'm one of those, at least I feel I am. I guess people can tell me I'm wrong. I feel wrestling is for everyone, and I enjoy it. Like, one of my favorite things was Baby D going against man, because Baby D is one of those, I legitimately thought she could kick anyone's ass, male or female. Jordan Grace, I feel that way about. I feel you could put her in the ring with a lot of men, and no, she's very believable in doing it.
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey, which I know a lot of people hate. Ronda is one of those, she's a legitimate badass.
She is.
I am very picky. I don't like Charlotte. I think Charlotte same with Charlotte. Charlotte has glimpses. No, she's not. Charlotte has glimpses where she's like, oh, she could be really good, and then she has glimpses where it's really bad.
Yeah, no, there are times in which I look at Charlotte, I'm like, why are you so lazy? I know how good you can be. I've seen those matches.
Exactly.
Where's that Charlotte? Especially against the likes of Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, exactly. And I think in Charlotte's case, that's a lot of she knows where it's going and what the story is, so she just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Which is never what it should be in wrestling. And win and losses they matter, but they don't matter. You know? Like, that's kind of your job. But anyways, no, I do think this match is going to be good. But anyways, what I was saying, I really hope we're building something to maybe a Phoebe versus Baby D, because I know she's kind of semi-retired, but she's even said she wants to come back.
It's like Kirby said, nobody ever really retires.
No, you never do. Except I actually do believe Kirby is retired. Kirby is probably the only person I really do believe when he says I'm done, I'm done.
That man keeps talking about moving out to the Caribbean and just staying there.
Exactly. Yes, Sky, exactly. Chilia is amazing. But no, it's one of those where if you could get those former tag partners, especially the Phoebe we have now, where she's no longer kind of the fun and sexy type one. She's very down, evil, and mean against the fun and sexy Baby D. I think that'd be a great matchup to build to.
The whole Baby D trying to, like, hey, we're friends. Remember, we're party. We're happy, And then, Phoebe breaking that and to the point where Baby D's just like, oh, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. I think they could build that and it would be amazing.
But that would require her to return, and I'm sure Jamie would love the idea of her getting that in her head again. Because if she comes back, he's not far behind.
Right. Well, he would have to be there because his baby D's there.
Yeah. Then we also have Matlock, the all-star Matlock, as the microphone says, taking on the boy band behemoth Mikey B.
Best friends explode. It's so
Best
sad.
friends, best
So
friends
sad.
match.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is going to be great to watch because it's just how it's gonna happen.
I really hope they get Matlock's size shirt. Because Mikey's going to wear his with pride.
Oh yeah. Either that or he's gonna wear an all-star Matlock shirt and be like, here's my Mikey B shirt, man. Come on.
Again,
No.
this is one of those matches that they build kind of quickly, but it works. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing.
It felt like it came out of nowhere, like just kind of a joke online, and then now it's actually like bleeding into the show, and it's like, okay, I'm all for this.
And I'm kind of curious of after the match, because I hope we can speak to Matlock. Whose chest is he like chopping more, Red or Mikey B?
We'll find out. You know who his favorite is. I know who his favorite is. You know who his favorite is?
It's Tommy Dean.
It's Tommy Dean.
He hates that man with a passion.
Yeah.
I don't know how anyone hates that man, but he does.
Yeah. But I'm definitely looking forward to this one because, especially since Mikey B does have that mean streak. And you got to wonder if he's going to have Big J out there with him.
I don't think so.
No?
I also kind of don't want it.
Yeah.
I like keeping, I guess it goes back to the Japanese wrestling I like keeping the tag teams and stables kind of separate from individual matches.
That's true.
And again, it's just let the best friends deal with their shit in front of a live audience. As long as we get a hug at the end, it's fine.
This is wrestling couples counseling right here.
I didn't say they're a couple. I said they're friends. Settle down.
They're hetero life mates.
God, is Matlock Silent Bob?
Yep.
Yes, I make myself laugh.
And then after that, we've also got Stephen Kirby taking on the Monster Hunter Matthew Palmer. And this match I'm looking forward to because this is going to be just a banger.
Second to last.
Mm-hmm.
Second to last, and someone who he is very well. They have chemistry together. That's what I'm trying to say. Their matches before and outside the ring, inside the ring, they mesh well. And it's one of those where it's Kirby wants to go out on top. There's no way Kirby wants to end his illustrious career going out losing. And hence why we've seen, every match he's come out, not that he's never given 100%, but you can tell there's something more there now. Mm-hmm. He did it with Sky. He's
trying to get everything else out of his system before he goes away.
He did it with Sky. I have a feeling he's going to do it with Palmer. And this match, I think, is going to impress a lot of people in how good Kirby is. Mm-hmm. And then also, I think Palmer's... again, also, it's the Monster Hunter. This isn't really a monster. So how is Palmer going into this?
I think he's just looking at it as a friend of his is going out and he wants to, help him on his way out the door.
Kirby has some monster in him.
That's true.
Yeah.
There's Mr. Mayhem. Plus, you touched on it. He's on a different level right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think I don't make a good point about Palmer's always. How does he approach, air quotes, a regular wrestler?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Has he spent too much time focusing on the unique, otherworldly eccentricities of whatever monster he may be getting in the ring with?
Yep.
And how long has it been since he's had to rely on fundamentals to win a match?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I agree that'll be certainly one to watch.
Yes.
Yeah. And if nothing else, like Palmer told us last week, it's like they can make it, the story work inside the ring, if nothing else. They'll tell that story themselves, and I expect that this is going to be, it's going to be high quality, if nothing else.
Exactly. It's going to be one of those, hopefully, Mr. Mayhem still comes back from last week. And then maybe it's not necessarily a potion Palmer drinks, but it's the whiskey that he drinks. Mm-hmm. That's what helps him.
Yeah, definitely. And then, of course, we've also got the Mad Prince. This is definitely going to be the main event. The Mad Prince.
Well, yeah, it's the MPX title.
Taking on the Magnificent Malico for an MPX Addicts Championship.
Oh, it's just the X title, it's not the MPX title?
Yeah, because he's only officially the Addicts Champion, so he can only defend the Addicts Championship.
I'm sorry. Have you looked at Facebook and seen the pictures? It's Tommy Two Belts.
I've seen the pictures, and like I said, he may have the belt, but he doesn't have the title.
Facebook does not a champion make.
Yeah. I mean, look at Zack Ryder. He called himself the Internet Champion forever. Did that ever amount to anything?
It should have.
It should have. It absolutely should have.
Look at TNA. They have a digital champion now.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know what that means, but they have it.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think Zack Ryder owns it.
Yeah.
Or Matt Cardone, whatever.
Yeah. But no, this match I'm really looking forward to. I mean, Magnificent Malico, of course, it came out that he's got the prosthetic leg and everything like that, which if you didn't already know about that, now you know exactly how amazing Magnificent Malico really is.
The only thing I hate about that, and yes, I got yelled at last week for it. I thought it was a great moment. I thought it was a great spot, but I've seen it 2 or 3 times now. It's a spot every match now. It doesn't need to be in every match. Mm-hmm. We don't need it. Like, I really hope, and I'm sure they'll still do it, and that's fine. I'm not saying I hate it, but I really hope Prince and Malico don't use that spot in this match.
Yeah.
Because it's been seen, it's been done. We all know, okay, cool. We don't need to see it every time he's out there now.
Yeah. It's like if before the days of the internet and before the advent of video proof of just about everything, especially in wrestling, it's like him doing it at different promotions every time he's at a different promotion. That would work,
right?
And you'd only really notice that he's doing it every match if you were following Malico every match.
Yeah.
But now, yeah, it's like it was posted on the Poly Pro and against Fuego, and so it's all over the freaking internet.
Well, then he did it last week against Lou. Like I said, it was almost identical, the same spot. Mm-hmm. And it's like we don't need to do it all the time. I have a love-hate with Malico.
Yeah,
because he's phenomenal in the ring and he's great on the mic. I'm
but
just terrified. I'm terrified of clowns, and I fucking absolutely hate every time I watch him. But it's also so good.
It's that whole thing of it's a gruesome car wreck. You don't like looking at it, but you can't look away.
Then it's like horror films. I'm terrified of clowns, but I watched it. Good movie. Terrifies me to death, but
I believe it.
Good movie. The same with Malico. Like I said, I love watching Malico in the ring because he is so good, and now with everyone knowing that it's a fake leg, makes it even better. And then, yeah, his promos, his vignettes, that stupid fucking laugh when he comes out, all terrifies me. But it's great because it's still good wrestling.
I can't say enough about Malico. Obviously, he and I have crossed paths several times.
One of my favorite angles from early time in MPX.
I would have to sit down and really think hard. He might be Hardakis' greatest rival. His presence and charisma and commitment and raw creativity and talent is above reproach, and I wish him nothing but success as long as he never gets in my way ever again.
Yeah, that's
pretty sure he's learned how to cross Hardakis anymore. So
especially don't try to put on Hardakis.
Well, you're applying logic to an illogical person.
Yeah, that's very true. Never bring logic in wrestling. It doesn't work.
Especially for someone who
disagree
says, from the mad world.
Which is, and again, because Palmer talked about that, was one of his favorite things was the whole Mad World thing. Because again, it's like you touched on it. Malico is so creatively good, and I think that's something I'm looking forward to most. Even though it's going to be 15, 20 minutes, the creativity Mad Prince and Malico can bring into this is going to be phenomenal.
I'm seriously looking forward to this match. I know you said that Casey Clay, Tommy Dean is going to be match of the night and everything like that, and I think it's going to have some stiff competition from the other matches, but if it's got the biggest competition as to how good it's going to be, is going to be this match.
I think that, and no offense to Tommy Prince, he actually impressed me this past Saturday with that opening segment.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be better after that match than he is now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I think he'll learn a lot from Malico on this one.
Yes.
And of course, we're all just going to ignore the fact that Malico was supposed to be dead earlier from the Monster Hunter, But just ignore that. Don't worry about that. It's wrestling continuity. What's that?
No, it's a multiverse Malico, right? It's different.
Oh yeah, okay, I can work with that.
Well, maybe Malico is the real person.
Oh.
Keegan, our Tabazon? Or Tabazon.
Oh God, that thing.
That's the mask. Azkaban, as you called him.
Forgot all about Azkaban.
But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that. And with that, that is the two, last week's match, this week's match. We actually do have all of Purple Rain announced already, but we want to save something for next week, especially considering we're going to have, Frankie Fisher in the. In the studio with us next week. And of course.
Does that mean I can't say how much I love Gabe?
Well, absolutely you can. Just be prepared for him to, laugh and, slap the hell out of you or something like that.
Yeah.
But of course, we are going to be talking about one of the matches, as we go along. But now it's time for the man of the hour, Isaac Mazer. Sir, it is actually absolutely fantastic to have you on the show. This is something I've been looking forward to. As soon as you said a few weeks ago that it's like, pay the fee and I'll come on the show, I'm like, okay, we're paying that now.
I was going to say, look who immediately found money.
Oh, yeah.
Can't find money to pay me, but you'll find money to pay Isaac.
Like I said, I had to sell your stock in the company just to get that $2,000 check. But don't worry, we'll have a stock buyback later.
You're publicly traded?
Oh, yeah. Of course we are. About as publicly traded as any, any promotion or anything like that.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Don't let him fill you. He just sold his body for money.
Did you get a receipt?
No, I told them no refunds.
But exchanges.
Well, that's what he's for.
Wait, what the fuck? Wait, now I'm not laughing. Hold up.
But of course, the one of the big questions that we always start with is how did you get into wrestling in general, and how did you get into what you do now?
My first introduction to wrestling was General Skandor Akbar, who, if you're from this area or if you are familiar with 60s, 70s, 80s wrestling, he was my original mentor and trainer back when I was competing as a professional wrestler. I quickly learned why do this when Hardakis can do it so much better. But he was my original mentor. He instilled and passed on the kind of knowledge you can only get from doing this for a living. And being in it for such a long time, seeing the evolution of different things and having the ability to be adaptable and to be successful and maintain notoriety for such a long time. You will learn things from him, and in an environment like that I don't think you would learn other places. And it's very simple things, a lot of things that when you hear them, you think it seems like common sense, but until it's delivered to you in a certain phrase, you wouldn't have thought of it by yourself. So I'm very thankful and I treasure the time that I had with him. I spent a few years as a professional wrestler myself, and then actually stepped away for a few years to focus on Hardakis and his development. Hardakis also had a very large part in my own training. I learned a lot from him and still do every day. And then fast forward to MPX, that original appearance was, I don't want to use the phrase happy accident, but if the shoe fits, we were actually scheduled to fight Tommy Dreamer for a different promotion, and Hardakis, and then so Jamie, I've also known Jamie for decades, said, hey, we've got this little bastard that is giving us a lot of trouble, myself, Richard, everybody in creative control, and said, we need this problem dealt with. Hardakis makes problems go away. Can you situate this for us? And so I don't think we had any real intention of having a long tenure at MPX. We had that initial match with Silver. The show that we were to wrestle Tommy Dreamer on actually got canceled. But then it's hard not to have fun beating up Jason Silver. So that was our original entrance into MPX, and then we quickly dispatched Johnny Melee, became the Prospect Champion, cashed in on Scott McKenzie to be the MPX Champion. So we had a pretty successful first 6 months, I would say, at MPX.
Wow, that was in the first 6 months?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I didn't know I was that soon into the appearance of Hardakis when I first started going to MPX.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's one of those where, you look at Hardakis and he has become our Undertaker or whatever. He's been one of the most dominant competitors. He's only had 3 losses. It was McKenzie, West, and then the other Palmer. Yeah. So,
everybody knows I am Hardakis' manager. I am his handler. I am a spokesperson. You would expect me to say nothing but glowing things. Mm-hmm. But I mean every word. Hardakis, his size, his presence, his commitment, his dedication, his in-ring ability, his intelligence, the fact that Hardakis is not a worldwide household name is offensive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There is so much there. There is so much. As much as you have seen of Hardakis, you haven't even scratched the surface.
Yeah.
He has so much to give and such large contributions he has made and could continue to make. Mm-hmm. He's an absolute star, and he deserves to be treated, respected, and realized as such. I say that not just as his manager, but as somebody that views and follows professional wrestling. I would put him on any card, on any show, anywhere on the planet for any promotion. He is the one that everyone will remember most. Mm-hmm. And there's all this, you guys have joked about it before, and Jamie's probably touched on it before about who's the best manager. Mm-hmm. I am the best manager. I don't limit myself to Texas. Anywhere on this planet that there's a pro wrestling manager, I am the best because I have what nobody else does. No other manager has Hardakis. Yeah. No other manager that I'm aware of for an extended period of time has had Sky de la Cremosa. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure we'll get into that in depth some more later. Yep. But nobody has what I have. Yeah. And I'm sure I will talk more at length about Hardakis and Sky de la Cremosa. But that I want to make sure and get that point across.
You don't want to claim Silver?
Silver and I have a different a different relation, a different vibe than the other ones. And I'm not saying that as like a closeted dig. There's a different. That's what made. I'm sure we'll talk about this at length, especially with what was just announced. Mm-hmm. There's a different interaction I had with each member of the crypt.
Yeah.
And I think that variety and that different, those different relationships, yet it was all one collective relationship,
right,
really made that special.
Yeah, because I mean, well, like you even touched on it, you and Hardesk were brought in pretty much kill and rid MPX of Silver. So yeah, you knew him very differently, and then kind of your relationship with Sky, and then Sky's relationship with Silver, it was kind of dragged into it of like, oh, okay, let me kind of help and mentor this one too.
The crypt is I think my favorite thing I have ever done in pro wrestling, because it made so much, to counter your point earlier, it was so logical.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It made so much sense. It was so organic, because you saw the transition of, you saw Hardakis and I come on the scene. You saw the story. You saw the ups and downs with Silver, the alliance of necessity, and then Silver and Sky are their own mythos, and so all that coming together. It was really well done. I'm very, very proud of it. I'm very proud of all three of those gentlemen. And I am thrilled that we're going to have one more slaughter at Purple Rain.
Definitely looking forward to that.
Sky also wants to yell and remind you that you still hold a win over Dreamer.
I do.
Sky holds a win over Dreamer, and that's all I heard about the next
I
day.
was going to say, it's like, you know all about that, Kyle, because you heard it every day for months.
It forever.
He earned it.
Yeah,
he did. He absolutely did.
He earned it. He deserved it. I was and continue to be so proud of him. Mm-hmm. I was honored to be there by his side for that. I wish that during the earlier stages of the Texas Chainsaw that I was able to be there more in person. However, be that what it was when I was there, I was thrilled and honored to be there. I hold him in very high regard as well. But that was definitely, I've been there. I've been very fortunate. I've been there in front of the crowd for so many incredible moments and milestones. And that is one that I will always, always remember.
Yeah, and while you touched on a little bit, that whole feud with Sky and Dimitri, and you going into Dimitri's family history, and like Sky and Dimitri was always selling it, but you just put it above and beyond the selling points with all your promos and vignettes about Dimitri's family.
It won Feud of the Year, hands down.
Well, yeah.
Over 200 and almost 300 votes from the addicts.
It's a lot of that, and yes, it was great talents and great matches, but a lot of that I put on you in your selling of that match and the Dimitri family curse and everything like that. How did you kind of come up with that? Is that something you always think about, or is it literally you're just given a mic and you just kind of flow?
That's my job. Mm-hmm. That's everybody's job. Mm-hmm. And plus, when you start, you get around certain people, and your mind starts going of, okay, because everybody has something unique about them. Mm-hmm. So what is something you can isolate and then exploit? Yeah. Dimitri is... He's got... I don't think Dimitri gets enough credit for his originality in his... in what you see in what you know of Dmitry Alexandrov. And I think there's truth and there's something to be admired about the fact that he went purposely against the grain of what people usually think of when they think of Russian professional wrestler.
Yeah.
And so he deserves credit for that. That is, I think that's who he really is. And so why not exploit it? And also when you're, as far as how I approach things or when I think about things, always, I would look around and I would say to myself, okay, that person, what would I say about that person if Hardakis or Sky or Silver was wrestling that person tonight? How would I get in their head? And so you think about that and you just start refining it and you start kind of forming that strategy. And when you're in, and plus we're heading into Destiny, which is arguably, that and Purple Rain and the Rumble, definitely one of the biggest shows of the year. And so plus you're in the main event. You have a responsibility to do everything in your power to make that as attractive as possible to where the audience cannot imagine missing it. I take that very seriously. I am very thankful to have had the opportunities I have had and perhaps will continue to have. And so I never, ever, ever, ever take it for granted. I take it very seriously. I've heard people say, and even I'm going to respectfully disagree with Kirby, because I've heard him say when people get frustrated or when people are hard on themselves, hey, it's a wrestling show in Bedford or whatever. I disagree. It is whatever you make it to be. It is as big as you want it to be. This is professional wrestling. Your only limit is your imagination. So, and plus with Dmitry and Sky, there's so much to work with, and there's always a lot to work with if you look hard enough, if you try hard enough, if you think about it enough. There's always an angle to get at, and especially when you look at all the work that goes on behind the scenes of MPX, all the work and the investment of the building, the audio video, the online presence, the infrastructure, the all of those things go into providing you as a talent a platform to do what you're there to do. And so it would be disrespectful to not give it 110% every single time. And MPX, I touched on it earlier, has so many features and so many tools for you to use that you don't have at a lot of other places. So it's your duty to them, to yourself as a talent, and to the audience to maximize your effort in everything you're doing. So I guess that would be my long-winded answer.
No, that's what we love
fantastic.
here. So you touched on a little bit, you were a wrestler kind of before, and then you got into the managerial role, and it kind of was always started with Hardakis. How did you kind of create the Isaac Mazer character? Like, did you do it to fit Hardakis, or were you always like, nope, this is what I want to do, I need to find someone that fits me? Because that was the other thing, like when you started managing Sky, I'm like, it's weird because it fits, but you wouldn't, I don't know, I guess looking outside, you're like, oh, that's not going to fit, and then y'all did it, and you're like, oh no, this fits very well. Because, I mean, for Addicts, we'd only seen you with Hardakis, so that's kind of what we knew you as.
Well, I think that that's a little bit of the attraction, though, because you're not sure what to expect. Like you said, it makes sense, but it's different enough to where you might think, I don't know. But we did everything in our power to make it work. In terms of my attachment to Hardakis, we have been associated for longer than anyone could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
And as a manager or a handler, it's another thing that it's my job, it's my obligation to make people understand and to be an extension of and provide depth to Hardakis. I would like to think that I'm one of the things. Again, I could sit here for 3 hours and who knows? We'll see what happens. But I could not say enough things about how highly I think of Hardakis, how much he should be respected. And so you kind of look at it as, what can I do to provide depth? What can I do to complement and to make this more interesting? Because Hardakis doesn't speak in a way that people would understand. So how can I, so it's okay, I'll create a dichotomy of, and that's another thing, I don't know sometimes if there's a misconception about Hardakis being a simple Neanderthal. He's not. He's a infinitely intelligent strategist of violence. He's something very, very special. But when you have the dichotomy of that level of primitive terror and a well-manicured, well-spoken, in some cases soft-spoken, articulate depth of thought. Something funny?
Just remembering, like I said, had spoken earlier about the line to one of the crowd when the Lost were coming together.
I've made so many videos. I've made so many. I've spent so much time on the microphone, and that's what you focus on.
It stands out.
I understand. But no, it's and again with Sky, what can I do to elevate this talent? And again, it's not that difficult with somebody with Hardakis because there's a lot to work with. It's not difficult with somebody like Sky because there's a lot to work with. With both of those people, I share. We have a lot of philosophical similarities about how we feel something should be approached, about how we feel we should interact with the audience, about how we feel we should interact with one another. And so that's why one difference you'll see with me as a manager, I don't manage a lot of different people. I'm quantity over quality, or quality over quantity, rather. And with somebody like Hardakis and Sky, and even Silver, the thing that I think made Silver and I work was there was a sense of, because it started off, we didn't like each other. Yeah. And that sense of like tension, yet still working towards the same goal, I think was interesting for the audience. It was interesting to me because it was different. And I think it allowed us, it allowed him and me to drift a little bit towards one another and kind of ease that transition from villain to I'm still doing bad things, I'm just doing them to bad people now, which I think is the trick to transitions like that, because you don't want to have an audience start to develop an affection for a villain, and then you decide you want to go that direction, and then change everything about the villain that the audience started to like in the first place, because then you're working against yourself. So I think, and that's another thing why the Crypt I feel like was so special, was because of the variety. Like, I was the constant, and we were all on the same team, but we were all so different. We were so different, but yet the same.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it worked really, really well.
This guy's yelling, he's special.
He is special. Regardless of whatever difficulties we may have had in the past, yeah, he's a good boy.
We have some questions from the from the guests, or not the guests, the audience and everything. Brain glitches. Greg asks, have you always been a heel manager?
I've never been a heel at all. What's a heel?
Yeah.
Here's another thing, and I try not to bathe in jargon, because I think pro wrestling, I think people involved, and let me do a disclaimer here. I have opinions about professional wrestling. They are my own. They are no one else's. They could potentially be seen as somewhat antiquated. And they could be different than those who, by some measures, have had more success than me. I'm thinking. I think some pro wrestlers or some pro wrestling personalities get trapped in the habit of, how can I talk and how can I behave so that everybody knows I'm a pro wrestler? Just be you, who happens to be in pro wrestling. You don't have to run down a list of every single. And I'm not trying to insult the audience member or you, but you don't have to run down a list of all these words that you think people say because you have the internet. So just as we go through this stuff, as we have this discussion, which, by the way, I'm enjoying myself, look at what I say through that lens. As far as if you're asking, have I always been a bad person? I think if you just look at my time in MPX, there have been times when the crowd has wanted to riot, and there have been times when they have chanted my name. Again, it all depends on who I'm doing the bad things to. At first, people didn't particularly care for me and Hardacus, and then when Fate brought us into a tag team with Jason Silver, they seemed to be okay with that. And then when we made the decision that the Impact players no longer had a spot on this planet, people didn't seem to like that. And then when Wesley Crane decided to pick a fight, people didn't seem to like us then either. But then, lo and behold,
PR's trying to get himself killed again.
He loves Wes. It's okay.
Well, if he tried harder, maybe he'd have a seat at the table. Don't hurt yourself. But so to answer your question, no. I don't think I have always been viewed as the worst person on earth, no matter how hard I try.
Well, I've always had a certain level of respect for you, whether I agreed with the methods that you were going with at the time or not. The next one we have is, do you have any advice or words of wisdom for anyone that wants to be a wrestler or a manager? I guess especially a manager. Watch
Old things. I don't watch. I care about professional wrestling, or else I wouldn't be doing this. I don't watch current wrestling. The only current wrestling I watch is MPX. Again, that is just my opinion. That's not That's not gospel of what's good and what's bad. It's just my preference. You spoke earlier about variety of professional wrestling and there being something out there for everybody. I would say figure out who you are, who you want to be. More importantly, as a manager, who are you there with? What are the things that you see in them that you feel like you could contribute to, that you could improve upon their and your collective presentation to the audience? Learn to talk. Don't be scared of the microphone. Start feeling more comfortable with a microphone than you are without one. Think about, and this goes for wrestlers and managers, think about every aspect of what the audience sees. Not just, and again, I'm going to sound like a grumpy old man, not just what you're doing in the ring. How do you walk? How do you speak? What are you wearing? What are you wearing when you're not wrestling but still in front of the audience? How do you behave at the merchandise table? How do you behave when you take a picture with somebody? What's your online presence? Do all those things have consistency? Don't be a wrestler just to be in the club. Take it seriously. Take yourself seriously. When you're watching something you have done, look at it with honest eyes. I'm not saying be hard on yourself and beat yourself up, but be honest about the things you see that you could improve. When you watch yourself, is it somebody you would be a fan of? If not, why? If so, why? Turn down the negatives, accentuate the positives. Watch old stuff, watch new stuff, watch everything. Watch what people who have been successful have done, but don't do exactly that. More so, try to think about why it is they were successful. Is it because they were able to build a connection with the audience through a microphone? Maybe. How did they do that? What is it about them that fostered that connection? Don't be a bargain version of something you've seen. We all have influences, and we all take little things from here or there. Don't imitate. Look at, take little pieces from here and there, make that you, and then figure out how to make you better.
You touched on it a little bit, influences. What is a manager, because you watch a lot of old stuff, that you kind of not necessarily took stuff from, but influenced, that you're like, oh, that's cool, I want to use that, or oh, this is someone that I want to be like?
Somebody would be, as far as managers go, Skandor Akbar. Mm-hmm. There's something about, and Texas has a very rich history when it comes to professional wrestling. Go back and watch World Class Championship Wrestling. Go back and watch when people would turn a microphone into a riot. Mm-hmm. Because the less you do before the match, the more you do before the match, the less you have to do during the match. And when I'm saying that, I'm not saying be lazy. Mm-hmm. I'm saying it's the same with any other profession. The more pre-work you do, the more work you do to set yourself up for success, the more success you will have. And in a profession where your financial rewards have a very strong correlation to your longevity, the more the less you have to risk in the ring gives you greater opportunity to make more money for a longer period of time. Yeah. As far as people I watch for inspiration, or people I watch for my own enjoyment because I watch them, as far as microphone work, Nick Bockwinkel
Yes.
is a huge. I'm a huge fan of his as far as his articulation, the way he delivers a message, the way he can seem insulting without insulting you.
Yeah.
Also, and of course, some of these are going to be cliches, but cliches become cliches for a reason. Jake Roberts, that sort of.
I apologize.
It's all right. Hello.
You've attracted the black cat. That doesn't surprise me at all.
Somehow it fits. That sort of quiet evil. And that's another, and this maybe I'll roll back to that previous question a little bit, how to be successful. When you're going in to a new area or to a new organization, look around at what's there. Look around at what they don't have. For example, going into MPX, what do they have? They have Jamie Aller. Mm-hmm. You cannot be a better Jamie Aller than Jamie Aller is. No. It's impossible. So what isn't there? And so what I had to offer going with Hardakis was a perfect fit for that, because I wasn't trying to copy Jamie Aller. I wasn't trying to be another loud, brash, abusive, just killer on the microphone, because he isn't. Jamie Aller, for all of our differences, and I've set the man on fire, I have a huge amount of respect for him. And actually, you might get a kick out of this. I want you to read the inscription on the back of that watch.
To my brother, Isaac Wingersor, love Gene. Wow. That's cool.
Wow.
That's amazing.
And actually, that reminds me of when Jamie was on the Offshoots with Trey Mack, and Trey was handing out the Manager of the Year award to him. And Jamie's like, hold on. I won't deny that I'm good, but if you want to talk about an excellent manager, one of the best managers ever, you have to talk to Isaac Mason.
Yeah.
You cannot remove him from this running at all. And that was,
I think then the thing to me that's crazy the most, listening to you speak and talking with Jimmy and everything, is how alike y'all are, yet so different. Mm-hmm. Like, hearing you speak, I'm like, oh yeah, Jamie has said that, but he said it very differently. But it's the exact same message.
Well, I respect him as a performer. I've known him, excuse me, I've known him for a long time. But at the same time, if he and I are on the same show, I'm doing everything I can to outdo him and outdo everybody else. And I know he's doing the same, and we deserve that from one another. Yeah. There's something in, I'm sure this is true with wrestlers. It's true in my experience with Jamie. There's something very liberating about being able to give and having to give maximum effort. Because me going up against Jamie in that situation on a microphone, if I don't give 150%, he's going to wreck me. Yeah. And so I have to. Yeah. And so every time you give maximum effort, your maximum capability increases a little bit. Mm-hmm. So just the same as a wrestler might get better by going up against somebody better than them, so does a manager. I've learned a lot from him. Again, the probably, I know I said the Crypt was probably the favorite thing I've ever done. Specifically, that feud with the Impact players is probably my proudest body of work that I've contributed in wrestling.
And you've got an impressive body of work to work with on that, to choose from on that. So
I appreciate
that definitely
that.
says something for that.
I want to think if another one, again, some of these are going to be cliches. Arn Anderson.
Yeah.
Who else? This is Rocky is a big influence. I think that also Randy Savage. That you may not have expected that coming from me, but the intensity and the focus, and I don't know. Again, I don't watch a lot of current stuff. I don't get entangled in the internet, this, that, or the other. I don't know who has what rules about who can do what on camera, but people not looking into the camera hurts, because that's you're conveying emotion with your eyes, and so when you don't have that tool in your toolbox, I think it makes things exponentially difficult for the talent, because if you look at some of the people I've named, they all looked through the camera into the living room of whoever I was watching. Another one would be, again, cliches, Roddy Piper, Dusty Rhodes. Anybody that can effectively convey emotion and elevate. Pro wrestling is something that can and should be, and is from time to time, elevated. It's a very underrated, it's a criminally underrated, when done right, form of entertainment.
Yes.
And form of storytelling. And mic work is, I will say, more important and more critical and more useful than what you could do in a ring. Depending on, obviously there are variables and exceptions, but I think that yeah.
Actually, that does actually lead into a question that.
I'm sorry. One more. Let's see you later. One more huge influence for me is Gary Hart. Somebody may have mentioned that. I can't believe I forgot to say that. He should have been right up. He should have been the first person I said after Skandar Akbar. But very heavy influence. Very. Again, we talked about the mood changer that some of the guys have. That ability to immediately shift the atmosphere just by walking into the room. Gary Hart was one of those guys. And Gary Hart was a manager, but he also came across as a bad dude himself. So I would definitely rank him up there for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the big ones on that. But somebody else asked, how do you keep coming up with these amazing promos every week?
I've said it before. I don't cut promos. I tell the truth. I said it earlier. There's always something to talk about. Mm-hmm. And don't. I get a lot of, and thank you for saying that, and thank you for the audience member that said that, and you've said nice things about me before, and so has Kyle, and I appreciate that. One thing I don't do that I see a lot of people do is rely on comedy. And comedy has its place, but the same with, if you're watching a movie, you can have a bad action movie and it still be entertaining. You can have a bad horror movie and it's still entertaining.
Yeah.
If you have a comedy movie that's not actually funny, it's lame. You don't want to watch it. And I think a lot of this goes back a little bit to my rant about people wanting to just prove they're pro wrestlers. Do we need to situate something? Okay. I think yes, there is camaraderie that comes along with being involved in pro wrestling, but I think if you develop friends in the locker room and what you do is trying to make them laugh or entertain them, nothing you do should be targeted towards somebody that didn't buy a ticket. So I kind of lost track. What was the original question?
How do you keep coming up with it? Just
look at who you're. In my case, I look at who I'm managing. I look at who they're wrestling. What is there to work with? So, what's the general idea? What does that idea look like in words? And then how can those words be improved? Does what I'm saying add interest to the match? Does what I'm saying and what I'm presenting and the perspective I'm giving and the way I'm framing this make it more attractive and more interesting and more likely for somebody to feel like they cannot miss it? Mm-hmm. And a lot of it doesn't seem like it's that. Like with Dimitri, again, a lot of people talk about that, and I'm very appreciative for people who have said kind words about that. There's so much there to work with that it almost seemed obvious about which direction to go in. Same with what we did with the Impact players. There's so much there. That feud, again, 8 people, and you guys both say it all the time. Jason Silver, Hardaka, Sky De La Cremosa, Isaac Mazer, Jamie Aller, Ryan Remington, Tommy Becker, Dave Sagan. What a ridiculous amount of talent. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it feels almost too easy because I have so much to work with. But what, and ask yourself that question. Like if I'm, what about this match would make it more interesting to me? What about this situation has room for more depth? Again, that's your responsibility. That's why you're there. And also, just as a talent, I feel like you would have the inner ambition to want that, to want whatever you did be the most talked about thing and to be remembered. And so it's just asking yourself those questions and being honest with yourself about, I have this idea. Is this idea bad? Is it good? Why is it good? Why is it bad? And then go from there. That's a very kind question to ask. I appreciate it. Yeah, why are you so great? But I appreciate it. And I guess my short answer would be take it seriously. Give it real effort, and be honest with yourself about your ideas.
Since you touched on a little bit about picking the good ideas and bad ideas, is there ever something you thought about doing, you're like, that didn't work, or is there something management approach you with, like, hey, why don't you do this, and you're like, that didn't really work?
I try not to look at, something I'm very thankful for is the level of trust I've been given. If I am approached with something, I haven't really been approached with a whole lot that I thought, I don't know. And even if I am, you immediately start, okay, how can I make this work?
So like when the idea of Hardaka and Silver first teaming together, you're like, actually, you know what? I can make that work. Let's go. I
thought that would be fantastic. I immediately thought it would be fantastic because what more could they do as opponents?
Yeah.
So if I can't do anything more, there's always more room there. Right. But what if we went the complete opposite? Mm-hmm. And again, when you have those situations of you got people with tension working towards a common goal, it's interesting. Just like how many movies have you seen where you've got people that have nothing in common, but they have to work together for some common goal, mm-hmm. and it ends up being really good. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think those were some of my favorite tag matches too.
Yeah.
The match, I don't know if you probably do remember because you spent a lot of time thinking about MPX, but shortly after COVID hit, and I did that tournament on the MPX Addicts group about my favorite matches. Mm-hmm. There's some deep cuts in there that I feel are very underrated and don't get talked about enough. And one of them on there was Jason Silver and Hardakis versus Stephen Kirby and Loverboy Larry. Hmm. it works because it shouldn't work.
Right.
And there's so much, again, another group of people with an enormous amount of talent and enough people that they know what to do with what they bring to that situation. But yeah, again, I've gone on and on. What question did we start from? I hope this is okay.
This is our show. That's what happens.
Yeah, that's actually what we enjoy about this. Let's see. Somebody had the question of, do you critique other managers? Do you like watch them and break down what they do?
Like other managers that I might be on a show with?
Might be on a show with, might be on TV, might be,
It's hard with the TV thing because I don't watch a lot of current wrestling. I don't know of is Mark Sterling, is he one on AEW?
Yeah, he's
my nemesis.
the lawyer.
I don't know enough to have an opinion. Of course, you've got Heyman.
Yeah. Well, and you had touched on earlier, like Jake, and he's with Hoyt, so.
Right.
Archer.
Oh yeah, sorry, Archer.
Here's one of the most bizarre. I think about it's the stuff I've done. I managed Jason Silver and Dmitry Alexandrov against Mike Fox and Lance Hoyt.
Oh wow.
Do you remember that?
I actually don't. That's crazy.
Heck of a pair.
Yeah.
It was during Jason Silver's feud with Mike Fox.
Yeah, right. Okay, it was.
Oh, okay, yeah, because he took the pounce. I do remember that.
Yeah.
And he flew, and it was great.
That was another match that was on my list that I don't think gets talked about enough is Jason Silver versus Mike Fox in the casket match.
Yes, that was good.
Yeah,
That was
because of the whole mask angle to it. I thought was great.
another great match. Again, since I'm talking nice about Silver right now, is Jason Silver versus Scott McKenzie at Texas Rumble 2019. I was out there. Jamie was out there. It was spectacular. That's another one that I'm very proud of because I did all the work. But where did we come from? What was the question?
Yeah, what was it?
It was. Do you?
Critique other managers. If they ask me, I'll give my thoughts. If I feel that it's the right environment for me to say something unsolicited, I will. Or if I see something in somebody, I will approach them and say, hey, 90% of that was great. Think about this part. I think that, again, something I'm thankful for, I think that I am thought of in a high regard amongst the talent. And so I guess my answer would be yes, asterisk, if the situation is appropriate.
Yeah.
And another question that kind of goes into the subject of Hardakis and everything like that. If a wrestler retires or walks away, does the manager usually go with?
I don't know that there's a usually answer. I think it depends on what the manager wants to do, or if that manager is wanted there anymore. I think there are a lot of variables to that situation. I guess my answer to your question would be I don't know, or it depends. With Hardakis leaving at the end of 2019, again, it was one of those things where I thought it was going to be, or I had original intentions, and then those intentions changed because I was looking for some time off too, and then we had that situation with the Lost Boys, and then my brain just started going and just talking with Sky, and I think that my interactions with him in the crypt and our chemistry together was well received by people in charge, as well as myself and by Sky. So then it became, well, I want to. And another thing, again, I've spoken at length, and I will continue to about how high of a regard I hold Hardakis. But when me and Sky really started running, I wanted to see, because again, I had been fortunate in getting these opportunities of almost as soon as I walked in the door, I was on top. And I wanted to see if I could get there. I wanted to see if I was there just because of Hardakis, or if I could. And I think I wanted to prove myself. I know Sky wanted to as well. And I think that we made a commitment to each other to bring out the best of one another. And I think we both improved of that. I think, again, I'm very regretful about the limited amount of appearances I got to make in person with him, because I think it would have, I've heard kind words about the videos I would submit, and I'm going to take a tangent here because I'm been doing that all night, but want to make a quick note of appreciation to my lovely wife, who, without her creativity and assistance and just unbelievable skill, would not have made so many of those videos that you saw and so many of those creative interpretations come to life. So, thanks.
That answers that last question from someone.
Well, yeah, and those videos, like I said earlier before we started filming, when those videos played, the entire crowd shut up. You're the only one that's ever made the addicts really shut up when a video came on, because they wanted to hear what you had to say. Whether they hated you or liked you, they wanted to hear it. If Jamie came on, there's a lot of boos, whatever. Even when Athena and Palmer came on, there's talking and there's hollering and stuff like that. You can't really hear what they say. Yet you come on and the entire arena is just quiet. And I've never seen someone really do that with the addicts.
I appreciate that. I would like to think that whether or not I am saying the worst thing you could possibly imagine, what I'm saying is still interesting enough to listen to. Again, and I'm going to give a little bit more than I thought I would here, but earlier on in my existence in pro wrestling, I was told that the way I spoke was too refined. Like, in so many words, I needed to dumb it down. And this coming from nobody that I would say I held in high regard, but so I was watering myself down. And then when I got to MPX and when I started, and Hardakis and I had a few shows before we started at MPX, but I just thought, I'm going to do what I think is best. I'm going to speak to the audience in a way that I feel they should be spoken to. And when you're not, when you come to grips with who you are and what you are trying to, and you get to know yourself, you don't have to think as much about what you're saying. If you're trying to be somebody completely different than who you are, and you're not familiar with what you're trying to project, it's not going to be smooth. It's not going to have a good cadence. So I lost myself again. But no, I just think that I lost myself again.
I understand that completely. But you were talking about, refined speech towards.
Oh, yeah. So, and it seems to have worked out okay.
Yeah.
In MPX for me to just go 100% and just trust myself and watch my stuff back and say, I didn't like that because of A, B, or C. Or they responded. Why did they respond? What was it about what I did that worked? Yeah. And be honest about that, because you can have a good idea and present it to the audience, and they will not agree with you. And so you need to be honest with yourself about why, and not become attached to your own misconceptions about what you think would work. Don't try it again or if you do try it again, tweak something.
Right.
Tweak it until you get it right. It's what the audience deserves.
I definitely agree with that. You have anything else, Kyle?
I mean, not right now. I can off the top of my head. Was that all the question?
That's all the questions.
Yeah.
So it being 9 o'clock, I guess we can go ahead and call it there. Thank you so much, Mr. Mazer, because this was incredible. Like I said, this is something I've been hoping we could get for a while, because I wanted to hear your viewpoints on certain things, especially from your career and everything like that. And so that was entirely enjoyable. And we have had, even though there hasn't been a whole lot of, I guess you could say, engagement from the crowd, we have had actually one of our higher numbers consistently through, which just goes to prove what Kyle said. When you speak, people shut up and listen.
People listen.
So, again, like I said, thank you very much.
Yes.
Make sure you have your tickets for this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you have your tickets for Purple Rain. If for no other reason, then you're going to see The Return of the Crypt with Isaac Mazer there. And I'm just looking forward to that.
Let me speak on that.
Oh, yeah.
For just a moment. The Crypt against UFC. This is the situation. UFC has done a very good job of trying to cement themselves as the dominant family in wrestling. That's great. The Crypt, in its own way, is a family. And we have had our ups and downs. We have done horrible things to one another. And yet, here we are once more reunited as a family. And if we would do those things that we have done to one another, to people we consider family, what in God's name do you think we are going to do to you?
That sends my goth heart aflutter right there.
I was going to say, I actually got chills. I love that so much.
But yeah, get your tickets. That's going to be an amazing match to watch, if nothing else. And keep it kayfabe. And of course, all hail Hardakis.
See y'all Saturday. Is now where I do the line or no?
Yeah,
no.
If you want to die, sure, go ahead.